What? Are you serious? The water's turning red. The water's turning red like blood. It can't be. It's impossible, right? Wrong. It is. It has, and it shall be. The Texas Blood Lake book has arrived. Are you serious? It's here a week early. I can't figure it out. The publishers got this thing published. The printers got it printed and in my hand 7 days earlier than the arrival date was supposed to. They must know that we're living in the last days. They must sense the urgency because they rushed this one out, and I think that's awesome. Texas Blood Lake. Folks, this is a powerful book with a powerful message. And I'm going to tell you, when I sat down to write this book, I had in mind, I began to look at not just the blood red lake, that lake turning blood red down there in Texas. And of course it says that the Bible does say water will turn red like blood. It says that in the book of Revelation, in the 8th chapter and in the 16th chapter. I understand that. And then I thought, but wait a minute, has this ever happened before? Yes. In the plagues of Egypt. And God began to speak to me and said, you need to go take a look at the plagues of Egypt again. And after analyzing the plagues of Egypt and then digging deep into some biblical history, I began to find out that there were not only 10 plagues in Egypt, but 10 idol gods in Egypt. And each plague was used to destroy the faith in that idol god. I named those 10 idol gods and what they stood for and the 10 plagues, and we break this thing down as Pharaoh was trying to hold back the worship of the Lord. He was trying to stand in the way of freedom and the liberation of the children of Israel from being able to serve the living God. Because even Pharaoh himself thought that he was a god. I can't go any further. But there's more than just that. Folks, there was a lot more plagues that happened in Texas in 2011 than that O.C. Fisher's Lake down there in Texas. There was unbelievable plagues, literally plagues and signs that happened in 2011 in Texas. And so in this book, we took the time, we break all those down, we document them for you, we explain to you where they at, what happened, and how it relates to the plagues of Egypt, and how God is sending a message of repentance to America and to each and every one of us individually. And he started with a lake, blood red, in Texas. Matter of fact, I did a video on it. You guys know that. It's got about 100,000 views. And what happened was, the national media saw the video I did, and it was written about me, and the video was written all over the world. Many different news networks, newspapers, and websites. Everyone is concerned. Any time that there's a potential apocalyptic sign that happens, people get concerned. And that's why I wrote the book, because they need to get concerned. We're living in those days. Matter of fact, there's 21 brand new paintings in this book by Tiffany Haskell, the illustrator. You remember, if you have the Hosea Prophecy book, there's 15 in this one. She did a tremendous job with that. This book is very powerful. Folks enjoyed it. There's 21 new ones in this one. I'll show you one. How's that? There it is. That is the fire, the raging fire that was out of control in Texas. Over 2,000 homes burnt to the ground during this wildfire, 80-foot high flames, uncontrollable. This thing was almost 2 miles wide as it was racing. And there was a caller who called in right during our show. Lance called in from Texas and said, Pastor, he called me on live on the radio. I do a radio show every day at Liberty Broadcasting Network from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The name of the show is The Coming Apocalypse. The guy calls in and says, Pastor, there's a raging inferno coming. It's racing. It's 80 foot high. The wind's blowing 40 miles an hour. It's coming toward my property. It's so high and so hot, and the wind is blowing. It jumped a 4-lane highway, and it's coming. Also, sitting between that fire and his property was 250 home subdivision, and it was going right for it. He called for prayer. Folks, wait, you won't believe it. We prayed. Everybody, all the listening audience, everybody prayed. And wait till you read what God did, the miracle he did. You'll have to it's in the book. that, all the other stories, plus some of my own personal stories and lives over the years, and some of it's kind of funny, okay? You'll enjoy it. The main reason, though, the book, I wrote the book, was to get this message, end-time message, a hope of salvation, the joy we have in Jesus Christ, but a real live look at the end-time apocalyptic age that we're living in right now. And understand something, folks. Christ is coming back. Oh, he is coming back. And he even said, when they asked him, could you tell us the signs of your coming and the end of the world? And Jesus said, well, let me break it down for you. And some of those signs he talked about are in this book, and you'll be able to read it, and it'll shock you, the things that went on in Texas and also around America and around the world in 2011, and it continues to. So if you enjoyed the Hosea prophecy, you absolutely will love Texas Blood Lake. Matter of fact, let me just read a little bit from the, how about the first page of the introduction, just to give you an idea. In late July 2011, stories and pictures about the O.C. Fishers Reservoir began to appear in the news. The reservoir is a 5,400-acre lake northwest of San Angelo, Texas, and had been a favorite spot in that area for swimming and boating, fishing, and camping for decades. Not this summer. The water level had been dropping for months because of a long drought that had settled in almost all of Texas and in the South. It's probable that I and other folks in the country might never have heard of the O.C. Fisher Reservoir as it dried up and all the fish were dead. That's what most lakes do during a bad drought, right? Well, it was the manner in which this particular reservoir dried up. However, that manner caught the attention of locals and soon the nation, as fishermen and spectators were amazed at the sight of the pool of water that formed near where the water was normally released. It was blood red. Pictures began to appear on various websites, including the Texas Fishing Forum on July the 21st. If you know me at all, you already know my immediate reaction. A blood red lake? Are you serious? Could this be a sign of the coming end times mentioned in the Bible? That's just the first page of the introduction. We're going to break it down for you in this book, so I highly recommend that you get the book. For those of you who have already, and how do you get it, Pastor? How do you get it? Well, you got to go to my website. Go to my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. Just go over there, paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. There you'll find out all about how to get a copy of the Texas Blood Lake. Also, if you haven't got Hosea Prophecy, you definitely want to get that. Be nice to just put those in there and mail them out to you. If you haven't gotten that, it's time to do it now. That of course, is the dead birds, dead fish, and dead cows that's been happening all around the world. And they said it was over. CNN said it's over. We don't talk about it no more. Really? Well, they just keep dying. Whales washing up. Dolphins washing up. 7,000 buffalo in Vietnam. 264 dolphins north of Lima, Peru. 100 whales, New Zealand. 7,000 bald eagles eating the dead carcasses of rats in a landfill, gathering and eating carcasses, just like Jesus said it would happen in Matthew 24:36, I believe it is, or maybe it's 24, maybe it's verse 28, and basically says where the carcasses there, where the eagles be gathered together. And I know there's some symbolic metaphors in there, but also God is naturally playing out these very prophecies before our very eyes. But the dead birds falling in Beebe, Arkansas, the millions of dead fish in Chesapeake Bay, the millions of dead fish at Redondo Beach, California. You can't make this stuff up. Stephen King can't write an article. He can't make a story like that. But the Texas Blood Lake, you don't want to miss it. You want to get your hands on this. It will be a great teaching. You will get some information, revelation, fresh word from God. I promise you, you'll be blessed of the Lord. And so I'm letting everyone know this weekend, they're here. And Monday, all of you that have already pre-ordered yours and already made your donations, yours are shipping Monday morning, all of them. So folks, get there and give your life to Jesus. Ask the Lord to save you. Give your heart to the Lord. Send me a personal message right here on this and just say, I want to be saved. I want to be saved. I want to be saved. I'll be right back.